would all get together and to make all the food for these guys.
Sure.
They come in, for supper or for dinner, either one, and would have massive amounts of food on picnic tables. Couldn't see them all in the house, no way, so that we would clean up part of the barn and bring the food out there. It was really something. I look forward to it every year to see all these rigs coming in, and all the horses and everything, and all the different farmers.
How did it take all day? I assume it took all day.
Huh?
Did it take all day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Dad wasn't much of a drinker, but in those days he'd buy cases of beer
Yeah.
and ice it down in a cattle tank. He'd clean out one of the cattle tanks that they normally drink out of,
Right.
and put ice in it from the river. It's the ice company, and that's where they got all their ice.
Right.
And put cases of beer in there. When they got all done with it, them old farmers would be drinking all that beer.
Sure. What kind of beer were they drinking back then?
Budweiser mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were drinking Grain Belt?
Smiths or something like that.
Schmitz?
Smiths, I think it was.
I remember Schmitz. Yeah.
And
I think it's a Wisconsin beer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And back, there weren't no cans in those days. It was all bottles.
Right.
Who wants anything and do you want anything?
I'll have whatever you're having.
Sure.
Dad, do you want anything? Michael asked if you wanted anything.
Huh?
Do you want anything?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to bed.
All right. Are you going to record the second half so you can watch it?
No, I really don't give a shit who wins or loses. It's meaningless to me.
Right.
I don't care about either one of them. So
Yeah, I don't give a shit either, really. So, did Grandpa give a lot to the church?
Oh yeah, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Every time they had some kind of a big purchase, like new pews or whatever, they'd come to Grandpa first because he was the biggest giver of the church.
Right.
The preacher would come. The preacher didn't go around to everybody, but he came to Grandpa Tom.
Right.
And he'd talk to Grandpa and Grandma and say a few prayers with him. And he'd say, well, Tom, I'd appreciate a nice gift that you always give for these things that we need. And Grandpa would say to him, how much do you need? He said, well, we appreciate a gift of $25,000, which was in those days like a couple $100,000 today,
Right.
And Grandpa'd say, Grandpa didn't write any checks. My dad took care of all that.
Right.
He'd say, Arnold, write out a check for $25,000. And he'd write it out, and they'd always have one of these gauges to tell how far your fundraiser was going, how it was
Right.
progressing, you know,
Right.
like a thermometer.
Right.
They'd always start out with a big amount that Tom Sawyer gave, and they put right beside it Tom Sawyer's gift. There was, in the front of the church, he was hard of hearing, and they had these things that kind of like a microphone. The pastor would speak into this thing, and out in these two booths, where there was these fixtures that about that big around with a handle on them.
Yeah.
He'd hold it up to his ear, and there was for him and another fellow called Red Hance. I don't know what Red Hance's real name was, but
Right.
that's the only thing I knew him by, Red Hance.
Huh.
And Red Hance would sit in the first one, and Grandpa Tom and Grandma Grace, or Grandma Julia, and Helen and I would sit in the next one, in the second pew. They were always reserved. Nobody sat there but us, and nobody sat in Red Hance's but his family, you know.
Yeah.
And didn't make any difference how crowded it was. They didn't sit anybody there to crowd them, you know. And I was real little, and I'd sit there. I couldn't reach the floor with my legs, and I sit there swinging my legs. Grandpa Tom would put that. He had a huge hand. He put that hand on my knee like that, and grip it. Look down at me. That was the end of swinging them legs. In order to entertain me, he'd pull out that watch, which you have, which I gave.
I have that. I still have that watch.
He'd pull out that watch and let me play with it, you know.
So you got Grandpa Sawyer's watch, right?
I do.
Yeah.
So Pop, whose watch is this then?
That's mine.
Where'd that come from?
I think Emily gave it to me some years ago.
Oh, you know what? I remember that she did for Christmas. She gave that to you for Christmas.
Yeah. It'll work. It just needs to put a battery in it.
You should get it to. Yeah, you should put. You should use it, Mike.
I might do that.
It's a nice watch.
Sure.
I might do that.
Yeah, I think I've got a battery for it, but it's a common battery. It's
Yeah,
not-
I remember that now. Here it is.
But you know, I don't have any place to wear it with. Now
Yeah, times are different now.
I've got this new suit that I've got has got a battery fob and all that on it.
Sure.
If I wanted to wear it, or I could wear it.
Well, if you wore a vest every day, you'd have a place to put it. But
But you know, people don't wear them anymore. But that used to be a big deal, where they'd have a watch with a chain on it, you know,
sure.
on the vest.
What-
Back in the days of the
What do you
Depression and all that, when people didn't have no money, Grandpa would, they'd come up there and they'd say, Tom, I've got a couple of hogs I'd like to sell you. And he'd look at these hogs, they were all gaunt, all ready to die.
Right.
And Grandpa would buy them, even though he knew they were probably going to die, just to help the guy, you know.
Yeah.
If they weren't worth anything, he'd still buy them.
And yeah, he was really known as a pillar of the community, and the government got after him one time. They said he didn't pay enough taxes, and he took them to court, and he beat them.
Hell yeah. Good for him. Fuck the government.
He said, I don't beat anybody out of anything, you know. And he took him to court and he beat him. And of course, the jury was all from this surrounding area, and they knew that Tom Sawyer was
he wasn't going to cheat anybody.
He wasn't going to cheat anybody, never did, you know. And,
Right.
And so they wanted, I think, $70,000 or $80,000 out of him or something, and he said that no, I'm not going to do that. We're going to court.
Do you still have one of his original checks?
Yeah, I do.
That needs to be framed.
Yeah, it's in my personal file. It's
If we ever had, and we
it
don't.
shows a steer in the corner, and it says Tom Sawyer, buyer of livestock.
Buyer and seller
I thought it
of
said
livestock.
Thomas Sawyer and Sons.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Sons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can get it out if you want to see it.
No, I don't want to see it tonight, but I think we should frame that. I'd love to have a picture of Grandpa Sawyer. We don't have any pictures of Grandpa Sawyer, do we? I don't remember. If we do, there's not many of them.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing. I think I've seen one before, but I can't think of who would own it. Do we have any photos of Grandpa Tom?
Yeah, somewhere.
Well, what's your relation out in California that followed followed your family tree?
Oh, that's
I'm thinking of Mom.
that's Dad's brother's daughter,
Yeah,
who kind of keeps. She's
The
went
family
back
history.
years and found things in.
because I thought she sent you pictures
Yeah,
of the family.
Mona.
Yeah, Mona.
Yeah,
I've heard that. I've heard that name before.
I've got those. Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought somebody in the family had a few pictures of Grandpa Tom Sawyer.
Yeah, well, I think I do. I'm pretty sure.
I would like to make a frame of that with the family, with his check and his picture in it. That would be neat.
Yeah, if you have his photo, well, let's get it out so we can see it. That'd be great. Well, not tonight, but it'd be nice to get it out sometime so we can reproduce it.
He looked a lot like you.
Lucky son of a bitch.
And he was a real good grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He would cuss in Norwegian. Because he didn't think that the kids would know what he was saying. I guess, you know, but we all learned pretty good, you know, what it was. I used to know most of the words. I've forgotten them now. But
It's probably a good thing.
and when we'd have Sunday dinner, always after church, we'd go to Grandpa and Grandma's, Grandma Julia and Tom, and have dinner. She had great dinners. But when you sit down at the table, Grandpa would say a prayer. Sometimes he'd forget and say it in Norwegian, and Grandma Julia would say it in English, you know. And
So the kids can
and then,
understand it.
Start with why nobody was. You didn't touch your plate or anything until Grandpa did. When Grandpa turned his plate over, that's time to eat, and everything was passed to Grandpa first,
I'll be darned. Well,
and then everybody else ate. But until that time, you sit there with your hands folded. You You didn't grab your plate, or you didn't, put stuff on your plate.
Why?
You wait till Grandpa got done.
Why is that, Dad?
That was old custom. And,
Just out of respect, probably.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
different.
that was just
different.
a custom that all of the older families did at that time.
Sure.
The man of the house came first,
Yeah, no,
And-
that's right.
and then Grandma.
Yep.
And when they got their plates,
Then
they passed to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't, because all this food was sitting there, you didn't, load it up because it was in front of you until Grandpa and Grandma got it.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're the ones that provided it,
Yeah.
so they might as well,
Well, I remember.
And it does teach the kids respect. It's different nowadays, but yeah, it does teach the kids respect.
I remember being at Grandma and Grandpa Wallachite's, and that's the way it was over there. Grandpa always, when everybody sat down, Grandma always fed Grandpa first.
Yeah. Did you know that I saved her life,
Who, Grandma Wallachite?
Grandma Wallachite? She got a hunk of meat caught in her throat. And we were all sitting around the table, and I looked over there, and she was turning blue almost, and nobody was paying attention. Everybody was eating. I jumped up and ran around the table and gave her that Heimlich.
Are you kidding me?
No. And about the third squeeze, so here come the big hunk of meat out.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
She was gonna die.
Well, she would have choked for sure.
Was that on Thanksgiving, or was that when just
No.
our family was over
No,
there?
it was just a regular meal. It was same thing over there. About every Sunday we all got together and ate at Grandma's. Grandma Wallachite's.
And you never boarded over there though, did you?
No, across the street.
With the Dunnigans.
There was a lady and her mother across the street that I can't think of her name anymore now. But I got room and board over there for $60 a month, and they made my lunch and they did my clothes and they darned my socks full of holes and the whole bit. And I had a downstairs bedroom.
I thought you roomed with the Dunnigans for a while.
With who?
Not the Dunnigans. I'm sorry.
Dunlaps?
Dunlaps.
No, not the Dunlaps. Ron and Bob, and the Dunlap family lived right next to where I boarded.
Okay, that's what I remember you telling me.
Yeah, they lived right next door, and they were twins, and you couldn't tell. I could only tell them apart by their shoes. One wore different shoes than the other, and the Wallachites were here. I was across the street. Dunlaps was here.
I'll be darned.
Wow.
When I came down to Des Moines, I rented a room over on, Fourth and Forest
Holy cow.
for $3 a week. Now this sounds like crazy, but you got to remember it's a long time ago.
Well, you came down with a cardboard
And
box for a suitcase, though.
It was a bare room, small room. You couldn't cook in it. And it didn't have a bathroom. There was a common bathroom down at the end of the hall. And if you had to go to the bathroom real bad, you're shit out of luck, because if it was used, you either had to hold it or run outside and find a place behind a tree or something. Well, I lived there for a couple of months until I found these people across the street from Wallachite's had rented, before, and so I went over and talked to him.
Why did you come down to Des Moines? Because I thought you guys all got.
I came down because all of the football team, we were undefeated.
That's what I thought.
All of the football team, in order to show their gratitude to us, they found jobs for us.
Yep.
Around the state.
The local businessman.
And I was supposed to start work for telephone, Mama Bell, on a Monday morning. So I came down on a Saturday, got a room and all that, and on Sunday, got together with the Wallachites. We were going to have a meal, and Lyle Ellis said, I hear you got a job with Ma Bell. And I said, they called it Ma Bell in them days.
Sure.
And I said, yeah. He said, what are they paying you? And I said, I don't know. I guess I'll know. He said, you mean you didn't ask him what the pay was? I said, well, these jobs were all promised to us, so I haven't even met anybody, but they give me a name to go to and an address on Monday morning. He said, oh, I tell you, Ma Bell don't pay very good. He said, why don't you come down to Iowa Power? I'll get you a job. And I said, can you do that? He said, shit, yes, that's not hard to do. He said, get your lunch pail loaded
Good pair of work boots.
and come on down.
Good pair of gloves.
I'll meet you at the gate.